So hello everyone. So today I am going to discuss you about the Bauhaus designed by Walter Gropius. But before I am going to start with it, let me introduce myself. My name is Manilyn Ansayam LINGKITAN, taking a Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Social Studies. So the Stadtliches Bauhaus, or in a German is Stadtliches, commonly known as the Bauhaus, or in a German is a building house, was German art school operation from 1919 to 1933 that combined crafts and the fine arts. Okay, so this school became famous for its approach design, which attempt to unify the principles of mass production with individual artistic vision and stroke to combine aesthetics with everyday functions. So the Bauhaus was founded by architect Walter Gropius in Weimar. So Weimar is a city of the state of Thuringia, Germany. But before that, who is a Walter Gropius? So the full name of Walter Gropius is Walter Adolf George Gropius, was a German-American architect and founder of the Bauhaus School, who along with Alvar Aalto, Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, Le Corbusier, and Frank Lloyd Wright, is widely regarded as one of the pioneering masters of modernist architecture. He is a founder of Bauhaus in Weimar. But later on, I will continue to introduce you the three different architecture directors. Okay, so let's move on. So it was grounded in the idea of creating a comprehensive work in which the arts would eventually be brought together. So the Bauhaus style later became one of the most influential currents in modern design, modernist architecture, as you can see sa background, and art design and architecture education. So the Bauhaus movements had a profound influence upon subsequent developments in art, architecture, graphic design, interior design, industrial design, and typography design. So when you say industrial design is a process of design applied to physical products that are to be manufactured by a mass production, while the typography is that art and technique of arranging type make written language legible, readable, and appealing when displayed. So there are three schools existed in the German cities. There are Weimar from 1919 to 1925, and the Dessau from 1925 to 1932, and the Berlin from 1932 to 1933. So as I've said earlier, that Weimar is the state of Thuringia, Germany, and the Dessau is the town and former municipality in Germany at confluence of rivers Mulde and Elbe, while in the Berlin is, we are familiar with this, Berlin is the capital and largest city of the Germany of both area and population. Okay, so the three cities under the three different architect directors, which is Walter Gropius from 1919 to 1928, and under niya ang Weimar country, while Hannes Meyer from 1928 to 1930 is under niya ang Dessau, while Ludwig Mies van der Rohe from 1930 to 1933 is under niya ang Berlin. So since I've discussed you, or since I've introduced you Mr. Gropius, right now I am going to introduce you Hannes Meyer and Ludwig Mies. So Hannes Emil or Hannes Meyer was a Swiss architect and second director of Bauhaus Dessau, and from 1928 to 1930, while Ludwig Mies van der Rohe was a German-American director. He's commonly known as Mies. So as you can see, these are the three famous directors, Walter, Hans Emil, and Ludwig Mies. So when the school was closed by its own leadership under the pressure from Nazi regime is the German state between 1933 and 1945. 1933 from 1935 when Adolf Hitler and Nazi party controlled the country, transforming it into dictatorship. So having been painted as a century of the communist intellectualism. But even though nag-stop and nag-close na ang school, but the staff continued to spread it idealistic precepts as they left German immigrants all over the world. But even though nag-stop na sila, the changes of venue and leadership resulted in a constant shifting of focus, technique, and structures and politics. I guess that would be all for my part. The next reporter is Ms. Villegas, and she will continue to discuss you about the Bauhaus. Thank you for listening. God bless us all.
Good day everyone, I am Arlene Villegas and I am going to discuss the Bauhaus architecture characteristics and the Bauhaus architects and lecturers. So what characterizes the Bauhaus building style? Are there certain Bauhaus patterns to be found in all examples of Bauhaus houses? From shapes and colors to materials and designs, here are the common characteristics of Bauhaus architecture. Functional and practical shapes. So Bauhaus style is characterized by a lack of adornment or ornamentation, focusing attention on the streamlined shape. So most of Bauhaus buildings for instance, feature flat roofs to produce a basic geometric appearance. So tabular chairs, which are basic chairs supported by an angular piece of steel tubing. And another iconic illustration of Bauhaus pattern design's elegant functionality. So utilitarian and uncomplicated with geometric forms and few superfluous embellishments. Another famous feature of Bauhaus design is the use of abstract forms, sparingly in ornamentation and as practical choice for mass manufacturing. The next one is simplified color palettes. The Bauhaus design strives for unity and simplicity. The architectural color palettes are sometimes restricted to basic industrial hues such as gray, white, and beige. So primary colors are tones of yellow, red, or blue, and it is frequently utilized in interior design. So occasionally, all of these colors are used together, but quite often in targeted families such as a wheelchair or a single red one. Materials. Bauhaus style emphasizes minimalism and industrialism. So it frequently attempts to use the least number of diverse materials as practically possible. So all of which are deemed industrial and essentially contemporary elements. So glass, particularly in glass curtain walls, concrete, particularly in architecture, and steel, particularly in appliances and things such as lights, chairs, and examples of these materials. Utilization of asymmetry. So asymmetry was deemed excessively industrial and lacking in artistic art. So Bauhaus architecture and design strive for aesthetic balance through asymmetry. As a consequence, Bauhaus designers attempted to connect and balance Bauhaus buildings and spaces by using the same components throughout without making all sides the same. This was seen in the use of the same materials and forms or the repetition of colors. So the Bauhaus building in the Dessau is a notable example of this, since it incorporates various diverse shapes and angles while maintaining unity with white paint and vast window patterns. The next one is holistic design features. So among the fundamental ideas of Bauhaus design is the incorporation of the institution's principles into all aspects of life. City architecture, public squares, Bauhaus, house architecture, furniture styling, appliances, dining cutlery, and typography were all incorporated. So this comprehensive integrated approach necessitates that the designer put the school's precepts at the center of every decision they make while constructing a Bauhaus-style room or structure. So now let's proceed on the renowned Bauhaus architects and lecturers. So the Bauhaus syllables established a new standard for architectural education. So the Bauhaus school was well known for its complete design ideas, which sought to unite individual artists with large-scale manufacturing and to merge aesthetics and utility. It was founded on the goal of developing comprehensive and durable designs. Bauhaus architecture developed to become one of the most important trends in modernist art and architecture. So now let's take a look at the finest Bauhaus architects. Johannes Itten was a Swiss expressionist painter, designer, teacher, writer, and theorist associated with the Bauhaus school. Together with German-American painter Lionel Feininger and German sculptor Gerard Marx, under the direction of German architect Walter Gropius, Itten was part of the core of the Weimar Bauhaus. So Johannes Itten, a trained elementary school teacher, was among the original educators at the Bauhaus, where he served as master from 1919 until 1923. So his creation of the school's preparatory class changed art instruction. Rather than making students duplicate the artworks of the old masters, he urged them to examine their own emotion and experiment with colors, mediums, and forms. This course stressed three elements: organic, form and color investigations, and canonical art study, and life drawing. So he was a forerunner of comprehensive art education, and he went on to operate his own art school as well as serve in top roles at prestigious art institutions. So Itten's Bauhaus workers or foundation course developed practices that are still important to art school education today, such as encouraging self-expression and experimenting with materials and process. So before continuing on to more particular courses, all students were expected to finish this training. The class was the Bauhaus curriculum's launching point. Hans Meyer. So Hans Meyer was a Swiss architect and second director of the Bauhaus itself from 1928 to 1930. When the Bauhaus Architectural Department was ultimately founded in April 1927, Walter Gropius picked Meyer as its director, even though Mortstam had been Gropius' initial choice. Meyer introduced his revolutionary formalist philosophy, which is a theory was that architecture was an organizing effort unrelated to aesthetics and that structure should be low-cost and built to meet societal demands. So he was fired because he reportedly politicized the institution. Peter Keller. So Peter Keller was a versatile German artist and was one of the representatives of famous Bauhaus art movement in Germany, which was typical for its functionality and consistency with mass production. Keller was a painter, architect, and graphic artist whose places are popular and sought for even nowadays because of their attractive simplicity. So Keller's interior design objects like chairs and cradles are so successful that they are still being sold by the German company called Tecta. So Keller chose to create his own workshop for paintings, interior decoration, and commercial graphics in 1925. As a result of his creative triumphs in 1927, he began working as an independent artist in Dresden, and 10 years later, he relocated to Berlin. So he worked as an art director throughout the war, and after the war, he was assigned to the newly created College of Architecture and Fine Arts to instruct pupils about the Bauhaus legacy. So Keller retired after teaching drawing, design, and architecture at this college. Meanwhile, he continued to be a creative artist devoted to painting. The next one is Marcel Bloyer. So he was a Hungarian-born modernist architect and furniture designer. So his work spanned practically every facet of three-dimensions design, from minute utensils to massive structures. Brewer advanced fast through the Bauhaus ranks, first as a student, then as a teacher, and finally as the head of his own business. Brewer, probably most famous for his distinctive chair designs, frequently collaborated with other designers, building a vibrant global business that finally secured his status as one of the most influential architects of the modern era. So according to New York Times journalist Maura Eden, Brewer's was one re-owned chair. The Wassily is an expression of modernism's confidence in technology and the prospect of a better life. So Brewer's ongoing fascination with the potential of new materials and technology, as well as his own reconsideration of tendencies in architectural practice, distinguishes him as an essential practitioner of modernist philosophy. This ends of my report. Thank you for listening.